My name is Dave Moore, D-A-V-E-M-O-O-R-E. I'm a volunteer with pikeoffota OTA. We're here today for one reason. That's because the Turnpike Authority says they want public input about Norman toll roads that they want to build. But they seem to have amnesia about what's been going on for the past 3 years, and indeed the past 26 years, about the overwhelming and consistent input the citizens of Central Oklahoma have been giving them, that we will repeat again to them tonight, which is no turnpikes. The engineers who are in the room in there to brainwash us and flim-flam the public into believing they have been ordered by the Supreme Court to build the Norman Turnpikes come hell or high water are in for a big surprise when they learn what's most important here. Not the phony traffic studies that they have fraudulently invented, not the Ponzi scheme financing that they've made up that can never, ever, never be paid off. Not the economic development lies that they have hypnotized the Chamber of Commerce and the county commissioners into believing. The most important thing here is the citizens of Norman just don't want the turnpikes. And that has been made abundantly clear for years. So we as Oklahoma citizens are appealing directly to Executive Director Kelly, to Secretary of Transportation Gatz, and to Governor Stitt. Do what Secretary of Transportation McCaleb did in 1999. Tell the Turnpike Authority to stop. Let our people go. And now, let's hear from Norman's Mayor-elect, Mr. Stephen Holtman.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you all for being here this afternoon. As someone that grew up in Norman myself and has spent a lot of time in rural Norman and throughout the metro area traveling around, I really just personally do not support this turnpike proposal coming through Norman. And the overwhelming public feedback that I have consistently heard for the last 3 years since this proposal was announced has been opposition to it. That Norman residents do not, by an overwhelming margin based on the feedback and experience that I've received and seen at city council meetings and through various different forms of feedback, do not want this coming through Norman. They do not support the taking of hundreds of people's property against their will, the impact to the environment, to the rural character of East Norman, and the just long-term negative impact that this proposal has on our community. So the official stance of the City of Norman government is a unanimous resolution that was passed in 2022 that opposes this project happening in our city limits. And at this current point, that resolution still stands, and I do not foresee the City Council voting to repeal that anytime soon. So I'm going to continue to stand with our residents of Norman that are fighting for their properties, that are fighting for their lives, fighting to protect the rural character and the environment of East Norman and all of Norman, really. I mean, this fight isn't just for the property owners of Norman and the environment that we have. This is statewide right here. This is other areas that could be impacted by turnpikes and highways in the future. So as mayor-elect and as soon-to-be mayor of Norman, I'm going to continue to support and do everything I can to stand with our residents who oppose this and who are going to continue to fight it. And as the City of Norman government, we will continue to explore any options that we have to continue to support our residents in fighting this proposal through Norman. I don't think we need it. I don't think that any positive that it has outweighs the very harmful and negative aspects that it brings with it. So again, I am very supportive of our residents. I hope there are some very good questions asked tonight and hopefully some answers given about what the future of this is. And I look forward to hearing some of the feedback. I have a city council meeting to go to. Otherwise, I would be here tonight as well. So thank you again all for being here. And up next, I think we have Randy Carter.
All right. Good evening. Access Oklahoma. the most devastating road building project in the history of the state of Oklahoma, possibly even the history of our nation. Our governor bemoans the destruction of homes and lives after a recent tornado that hit the city of Sulphur not too long ago, which he should. It devastated that community. Then, the governor had the gall to whine about a building on some personal property that he owned that got damaged in a recent wildfire, even going so far as to call for the dissolution of an agency as a result of that damage. Yet, he has orchestrated the massive Category 5 Turnpike storm that intends to destroy hundreds and hundreds of homes, potentially leaving thousands of Oklahomans, his fellow Oklahomans, homeless and financially devastated. When he announced the Access Program in February of 2022, he said that these proposed turnpikes would only be going through unimproved farmland. First of all, I can't imagine any governor of Oklahoma thinking that farmland is unimproved land. Well, here's a picture of my personal unimproved farmland. He must think that these overpriced, unwanted, and unneeded turnpikes are better improvement over this unimproved land. I personally don't think so. This wind is a challenge. I got it. I call on the governor to stop this overpriced, unwanted, and unneeded devastation to thousands of Oklahoman lives. Stop the turnpikes. Governor, you would leave an heroic legacy as the greatest governor in the history of the state of Oklahoma if you would stop these turnpikes. Return them to free roads as they were originally promised when the OTA was first created. Is the mayor still here? Okay, well the mayor left. Anybody in the media have any questions for Dave or I? Yes.
Randy, so at the last meeting in Purcell, representatives of the Turnpike Authority said that meeting, as well as this meeting, is not for questioning whether the turnpike should be built, that time has ended. Were you or anybody else ever given a town hall meeting or a chance to voice whether you wanted a turnpike?
No.
The Turnpike Authority has never directly asked us if we want this or not, if that answers your question. No. From the very beginning, the town hall meetings that they had back in, I believe, the spring of 2022 were nothing more than the same kind of meeting we're having tonight. They just were showing people where the turnpike was proposed to go, and they didn't ask us if we wanted it. They just said this is where it's going to be.
We were told this meeting is, to let you all have the opportunity to look at a map and draw up a potential alignment that's further west toward I-35. Do you think that is something anybody here would do or is interested in, or are you simply, asking for them to just not have any alignment?
Well, we would propose to have no alignment whatsoever. Yeah, here, Dave.
The people of Norman have been telling the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority for 26 years, no turnpikes. Oh, say it over here in front of your microphones. Sorry about that. Yeah. The people of Norman have been telling the OTA the same thing since 1999, when Neil McCaleb, the Secretary of Transportation, said, "We have listened to the people of Central Oklahoma," and he dropped the project. Now that can happen again here too. The input from people of Norman has always consistently been no turnpikes, not where is it going to go. And so, in my opinion, these meetings are a sham, because Terry Angier already told everybody up front, we're not going to take any input at all except where's the turnpike going to go. We don't want to hear from you people that don't want the turnpikes. Well, this is, by God, the United States of America, and I have free speech, and I can say no turnpikes to them anytime they want to listen, because I'm going to say it anyway, and so is everybody else here. So they better just clean up their act and cut this stuff out. It's unnecessary. It's not right. We shouldn't even be here.
Any other questions?
Do you think the pressure from you all could change their mind, or is there legal action that could be taken further? I know that has been attempted already.
I would say both. The answer to that, yes, there's a possibility of legal action, and also they may open up their ears and listen to us. If we say it long enough and strong enough, the message might get through. Any other questions?
Is there any additional challenges being seen that the city and many of its residents are opposing this, but it seems that Cleveland County may be at least on board with the discussion of an extension that would cut through Norman?
I believe what you're talking about, Cleveland, the county commissioners of Cleveland County voted a resolution to allow the access roads, some access roads. I believe those were more concerned with the east-west connector than they are with the southern extension, and the southern extension is what they're here to talk about tonight.
Terry Angier has accused your group of spreading misinformation, and she accused your group of spreading misinformation about environmental concerns and also about homes that are going to be torn down. Anything else I have forgotten?
Tassie, would you like to address that?
I'll say we're going to have a contest to crown misinformation sometime this year.
Nancy, can you want to answer that?
I'll just step up because I do have something to add here. The question of misinformation, I really feel like is a classic case of Terry Angier perhaps needing to reflect on her own statements. In fact, I will tell out loud that Terry Angier and I have a mutual acquaintance. And when the acquaintance and I were discussing the origins of the Access program, the mutual acquaintance, who is also a journalist, stated, "I knew she was lying through her teeth when they discussed it early in the process." I have felt the same way about all of Ms. Angier's statements and misinformation that she has put forward. If she is serious, I would invite her and the OTA to provide an itemized listing of every property taken for the Driving Forward program, with a list of the price given to the property owner and the subsequent sale price as it was declared surplus and flipped to real estate developers, in some cases just weeks later. And so until OTA is forthcoming and upfront about its side business in real estate, they are really in no position to be making allegations like that. So
One follow-up. I pressed her to list what she thought was misinformation on your behalf, your group's behalf. What misinformation would you detail on their behalf?
I think
Have a week.
the origins of the Access project planning, because I put in an open records request when our open meetings lawsuit was still pending, but I did not get the actual revealing documents until it had been fully adjudicated that indicated the planning for this was taking place in the summer of 2021. And I will remind you to go back and look at that press conference, especially including Mr. Streb's statements at the Crosspoint Church meeting, where he claimed in March of 2022, quote, "This project is only 9 days old. We're at the beginning of the beginning." We absolutely know that was not the case. OTA has never owned that misinformation. All of their public documents have different start dates, December, January, February, and they've just never acknowledged that. So from the beginning, they got off on the wrong foot. The statement about they are continually reassuring people, and they did this in a social media post today, "We promise we give you good value for your home. You'll do well. People do well with us." Well, we have an itemized list of the court cases that came about from the Driving Forward program, and many property owners who challenged OTA's lowball valuation did much better after years of litigation than the amount they were originally offered OTA. And then regarding the environmental issues, we have never seen any evidence of an environmental study. They are always claiming how much they care about the environment, but until we actually see visible evidence of an actual study that is not just one of their, what's the word I'm looking for? One of their, like the traffic study, honestly, was a joke. And I say this as someone with some knowledge of qualitative and quantitative research. Their contractors give them information that they want. There's no independent analysis. And we fully expect any environmental study will be contaminated by that same conflict of interest. So until there is an honest, independent, professionally credentialed environmental study, I will not believe anything OTA says. That's my little rant. Thank you for letting me insert myself into your press conference.
Good job. Thank you, Jesse.
Yeah, we're going to wrap it up and go inside and see what's going on. Thanks for being here, you guys.
is an open house, come and go 80, so we truly appreciate you coming and being early. We will be here till 7 p.m. That's as long as we got this place rented for. We do have a brief presentation right up front, but to do some housekeeping before we get started, there's a couple of restrooms right here to the south and to the left. There's also cookies and water and tea in the back if you need some refreshments. When you came in today, we did print up a bunch of QR codes. If you didn't get a QR code, that's okay. You can take your phone and scan it on any of these boards. It will take you to the map that we're showing here on this. It'll also, the green bar at the top is where you can click on and leave a message. This white box will turn on and off layers so that you can see what we look at whenever we're looking at this project and the information that's public information. And then we would love to get your comments. Good comments, bad comments. Comments about the project are important. Comments telling me I'm stupid, not so important. We get it. With that, I would like to turn this over to Mr. Streb with our project team. And bear with me, we've got 10 minutes that we'd like to present, and then we'll go to the maps and have our meeting. Okay, Mr. Streb.
Thank you, Craig. First of all, I want to say welcome everybody. I know it's a bit tight quarters. I think everybody that was in line has gotten in. Thank you very much. We're going to try to keep this very short so we have time to meet with you one-on-one at the tables and the maps. First of all, as a proud OU graduate, it's always good to be back in Norman. Looking forward to being here. On a little lighter note, how about the Thunder playoff run? How many folks stayed up and watched the game? MVP, Thunder winning, OU softball going World Series again. 2 bright, shiny spots for our state. That's awesome. We stand before you in 2025, and we're pushing a reset button on this South Extension alignment. Our goal is to meet with citizens and get input on the best location for the South Extension Turnpike. What are things we need to be aware of? What are things that are important? What are things that will make it a good turnpike? The purpose...
Let's get through this, then we can heckle.
The purpose of the South Extension Turnpike is to relieve some congestion off I-35. Anybody drives it knows how busy Also, to improve the safety on I-35.
Of course.
It also will move travelers away from I-35 that have no destination in the downtown Oklahoma City metro area. It will also provide increased mobility for the 3rd largest city in our state, and that's the city of New York. It also will reduce travel times throughout the region. Now, the real reason we're here is to take a look. If you look at the map behind me up there, focus on the pink. That is the east side of the east-west connector as well as the south extension. This was put on the website in 2022. It has been on the website since 2022.
We know.
What's happened since 2022 is the Turnpike Authority has received validation of the Access Oklahoma program and the South Extension from the Oklahoma State Supreme Court. Also, the Turnpike Authority has successfully gone to the bond market to get funds to fund the Access Oklahoma program. Those are 2 things that have changed since 2022. One of the other things that's key is you take a look at that, and I know, Jeremy, if you could turn on the Lake Thunderbird. Okay, one of the other things we learned, and please, Craig explained this app, and I can't say enough. All the boxes and data that you can click on your phone or iPad or when you get home, all of this is publicly available data. We tried to put it in one location for all of you to look at during your spare time, or if you want to look at it on your phone now. One of the keys here that's happened is The Turnpike Authority requested, through a compatibility report, permission to build the turnpike across the Lake Thunderbird property. And that's managed by the Bureau of Reclamation. The Bureau of Reclamation gave a finding and said the turnpike is not consistent with the use of Lake Thunderbird area.
Not consistent with Norman.
So that means that the turnpike, this turnpike alignment cannot go across the green area that you see. The two corners of
Thank God for the feds.
So what we're here, the big key this evening is that alignment has to move.
No, it doesn't.
Why don't you put it the other side of the lake? Because they won't let you.
So one of the whole purpose is we want to do this alignment as good as it can possibly be, and we want to be able to help you to make this a good turnpike.
No, we don't want no turnpike.
A couple of concerns, very consistent for the last 3 years that we have heard. One of them, and folks have been very clear about that. What about the water quality of Lake Thunderbird? We all know that the water from Lake Thunderbird is used for drinking water in Norman, Midwest City, and Del City. The Turnpike Authority and our team is very, very conscious of that. This project will actually offer an opportunity to improve the water quality.
What about my well water?
Who's going to believe that one?
You haven't done any studies.
Yeah, where are the studies?
There are measures that can be taken on the upstream side, obviously measuring the contaminants that are coming into the lake. What are things that can be done as part of this is upstream mitigation, wetland mitigation. The Turnpike Authority is going to do everything possible to even improve the water quality coming into the lake. We know those things that One of the other concerns that we've heard over the last 3 years, Mary, if you could turn on, are rose rocks. Now, the rose rocks are not protected by law. However, we know darn well that they're a very concern to this community in the loss of those rose rocks. If you take a look at that, that's actually from the OU Geology Department. This is a public data site, and you can see where those rose rocks are prevalent. You can expect to find them. So, by sliding the pink a little bit west, it will have less effect on the rose rock formations than the pink line that's currently there. One of the third item that we've heard a lot about, and it's a fantastic opportunity for this whole community. Right now, the city
Opportunity for somebody to make some money.
The city of Norman has been working hard.
None of us.
It's called AIM Norman, and that's the long-range plan for the city. And you can see, this is the draft, which is available online at AIM Norman. And the Turnpike Authority has an opportunity to work with the city and the long-term plan for AIM to make sure that they work hand in hand. So those are three things that we have heard very clearly that Norman's going to
These are our homes!
the water quality and the rose rocks. One of the other consistent comments we've heard, and it's unfortunate, the last 3 years since 2022, this program's undergone many challenges. And here we are with the challenges, now with the Supreme Court ruling, and the challenges that have gone on. Unfortunately, when that line was put on the website back in March of 2022, we have held a lot of property owners, many in this room have been in limbo for probably up to 3 years because we don't know exactly where that's going to go. Now, we know it has been difficult the last 3 years. We understand that. What we are committed to doing is getting the comments between now and June 30th, evaluating those comments, and finding the best location, sliding that line to the west.
Bend over, I'll show you. Best location.
That will be done in the fall.
No sense.
So this big liner will be moved and will be released, a liner will be released in the fall of this year.
This is our city.
That will be the commitment, that will be done by the fall. Strongly encourage you on the comments between now and June 30th. Last week we held a meeting in Purcell. On this app, we've already received over 75 comments since the meeting in Purcell. We encourage you to respond. A couple of the comments that are very important to us. For example, one of those comments is, we had the worst state rule in the history of Oklahoma. And one of the comments, I shouldn't say a lot, but some of the comments we heard in Purcell were areas that had flooded that they'd never seen flooded before. And those are things that are important to us as engineers to help make this turnpike as good as it can be. The other is, we understand that when the turnpike's built, we are going to impact some homes.
No, you're not.
We are going to do our very best to mix subdivisions and very dense populations of those subdivisions. Obviously, there's no way to build this turnpike without one of the other comments we hear is, when is this going to be built? Never! Our construction timeline, please listen, is the yellow from Newcastle to I-35, the east-west connector, that will be open to traffic by the end of 2027. It doesn't mean that all the big interchanges will be done, but you'll be able to drive on that turnpike by the end of 2027. The yellow from I-35 heading east to that junction and then north to I-40, the rest of the east-west connector will be open to traffic by the end of 2030. Now, the south extension, which is where that pink interchange is heading south, from there to Highway 9 will be open to traffic by 2032. South to the Purcell area, interchange with I-35, will be done in 2034. Those are the targets, and those are the dates we're striving for. We're committed to try to reach those because we don't want to keep people in limbo any longer than they need.
We're committed to stop you. Shut her down. Why you show the map?
How can you help us? Good as it can be.
Our input is we
don't build it. That's our input.
You know it. You know it.
You know our input. You've been listening to it for 3 years. You haven't paid attention to it.
Okay. One of the
Norman businesses.
We're almost done.
Comments.
We're almost done. Let's wrap this up and then we'll go to the maps and talk about it. There are folks that are here that do want to hear this. So please.
We understand that obviously there are people who are not in favor of this turnpike. We also understand there are people who are in favor of the turnpike. That help are hang on, folks.
There we go. Oh, good.
Also,
people for telling the truth. Take your ponzi.
We will be here until 7 o'clock. I encourage you, everyone in this room has an opportunity to provide input in this project and what is important to you, especially things that we may not be aware of that are in these public databases. We're aware of those things. What we're not aware of is what's in the public databases. Also, it's very important want to do this turnpike, and we want to do it right. We want to make this facility good for this community and good for everyone to use in the future. Before we break out to the tables, I want to let folks know we also have our OTA leadership team here. There's some members of OTA leadership here. We also have some members of leadership of the University of Oklahoma here. And I would encourage each of you, we will stay till 7 o'clock and meet one-on-one. In the back, before we break loose, we have a table for environmental. It's all the way in the back by the gold, or I'm sorry, the right-of-way is back by the gold balloons. Environmental's right next to them. The environmental, if you have issues on runoff, pollution, Lake Thunderbird, etc., those are the people to talk to. If you want to know if OTA has to buy property from a private property owner, what is that process? We have right-of-way people available to answer that. We also, if you're having trouble on your phone, or if you want to be shown how to use our app, and I encourage you, it really shows you all of the things that we look at, and it's amazing how many variables go into selection and alignment. Jeremy's up front. He will be happy to help you with that app and navigate that if that's something you would like to do. But most importantly, we wanted to take this last 10 minutes and just give you an update on where we are. We hope you find it informative. We will be here till 7 o'clock. All of our staff has name tags. Feel free to visit with us. Any questions you have. All of the maps in the back are the same, so feel free. You don't have to go to every table. It's the same map at each table. And once again, thank you very much. Craig?
Ladies and gentlemen.
No turnpike!
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll break now to go to the tables and talk to you one-on-one about this proposal.